The senator from Rhode Island.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that the Environment and Public Works Committee be discharged from further consideration of S-1523, the National Estuary Program, and the Senate proceed to its immediate consideration.
The clerk will report.
S-1523, a bill to amend the Federal Water Pollution Control Act to reauthorize the National Estuary Program for other purposes.
Is there objection to proceeding to the measure? Without objection, the Senate will proceed to the measure.
I further ask that the White House amendment, which is at the desk, be agreed to, that the bill as amended be read a third time and passed, that the motions to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table with no intervening action or debate.
Is there objection? Without objection.
Mr. President, may I thank the senator from Ohio for the way we have worked together on this. There was a slight toll to be paid on the majority side for getting the National Estuary Program passed, but it was one that we could live with, and I think that these are both good pieces of legislation. I'm glad that we were able to pass them together. If I could just briefly read from an editorial that was recently published by the Westerly Sun. Westerly is one of Rhode Island's cities, and they have South County, the area that Westerly is in. It's called South County in Rhode Island, and there's a South County coastkeeper whose name is David Prescott, who went out with a boat that belongs to an environmental group in Rhode Island called Save the Bay, and took some press folks down the Pawcatuck River with elected leaders from both Rhode Island and Connecticut. And to read from the editorial, Prescott shared a jar full of smelly green algae from the bottom of Little Narragansett Bay to illustrate how lawn fertilizer, engine oil, and all manner of interesting items flushed down storm drains end up below the surface of what appears to be a bucolic setting around Watch Hill, Napatree Point, and Sandy Point. If we went further up the watershed, we would actually see stuff that came right off the land down the stormwater outfalls, Prescott said. This is the stuff that we know is in our developed areas. We see stuff such as oil and gas and grease and sand and trash and dog waste, and guess where it ends up? Eventually it ends up here in the Pawcatuck River estuary and into Little Narragansett Bay. Based on his 8-year study of the river and bay area using water sampling, Prescott urged leaders from both states to heed Save the Bay's call to action, which would require developing stormwater management plans to better filter runoff, ensuring septic systems are regularly tested, encouraging homeowners to reduce or eliminate use of lawn fertilizers and pesticides, and enforcing no discharge laws. The newspaper then concluded, the Wood Pawcatuck watershed, from Warden's Pond in South Kingstown to Watch Hill, filters the water in our aquifers and provides a quality of life many envy. We need to protect all aspects of our watershed and treat the Pawcatuck River and Little Narragansett Bay with more respect than has been shown over the decades. I thank the Westerly Sun for those thoughts. I think they're very helpful. I'm glad to have the chance to put them here into the record on the Senate floor. And the reason that I read this is because the work of doing that upland planning that allows an estuary to be clean for swimming and fishing and boating and all of the things that Rhode Islanders and our summer visitors enjoy is through this National Estuary Program. It shows a common link because of the algae problem that David Prescott referred to with the algae problem that Senator Portman has seen in Ohio. I want to thank David Vitter, the senator from Louisiana, for his co-sponsorship of this and for his work to get this through the Environment Public Works Committee with me. I want to thank Sherrod Brown for co-sponsoring this legislation. There is indeed in Ohio, if I'm not mistaken, Senator Portman, the Old Woman Creek National Estuarine Research Reserve, and this will help support the work of the Old Woman Creek National Estuarine Reserve. This is in Huron, Ohio, on the south central shore of Lake Erie. It's one of Ohio's few remaining examples of a natural estuary that transitions between land and water with a variety of habitats from marshes and swamps to upland forests, open water, tributary streams, and barrier beach and the shores of Lake Erie. So I am pleased that both of these measures have been able to proceed, and I yield the floor.